Hey everybody, this is Kohdok here, and we're halfway through January, aren't we? We're already well into the year that is not 2020, and well, you can see how things are going, but hopefully they'll only get better from here. When you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere to go but up, right? But I have been working on the latest thing for the 7 Deadly TCG Sins series. I actually have a lot of things I want to talk about, like a lot of different games I want to look at and go over. But I'm currently working on the Duel Masters video because I want to get that one out of the way before I do anything else, because I bring up a lot of terminology like card speed and stuff like that. But the content gods demand content, and I figured I would start with how my New Year's resolutions have been going. So what I'm looking at today is Ring Fit Adventure for the Nintendo Switch. It is a fitness-themed, turn-based RPG that where instead of doing button commands and different prompts, you instead run through the game and fight monsters by doing exercise routines. And that kind of thing really appeals to me because I kind of struggle at doing exercise for exercising's sake. I need something to keep me actively engaged, and that's where this kind of thing comes into play. And it's been known for a long time that you can get some good results by combining exercise with a video game. I mean, if you go all the way back to the original Nintendo, they had the track and field with the pad. There was the big DDR craze that happened a while ago. There is also what I consider to be the most underappreciated video game console ever created, the Tektrix VR. It's just as it looks. It's a recumbent exercise bike that is hooked up to a TV and a video game system. Only about 7 games were made for this thing, but all of them are great. In fact, the person who made the games, they put the ROMs online for free if you wanted, although I don't know how well you could use them without the actual machine, but because it was a recumbent bike, you had, you gripped the handles were low down and they all had the buttons on them that you could do for control and stuff. And a lot of those games were just simulators where you went around like on a bike, but there are also some where you flew a plane, you'd pedal faster to go higher, and you could like shoot at hot air balloons and stuff. There was another one where you swam underwater, and then there was the game Aztec 2000. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of Rocket League. Now imagine that, but with the graphics of the original Star Fox. It was great, and it was well designed too, because it was based on the Aztec, which is an Aztec game that's similar to basketball, but the hoop is sideways, so you can't just turn around and shoot at the goal. You actually have to wiggle in to get the proper aim to shoot at the goal, which means that if your opponent like really put their pedal to the metal, they could cut you off and steal the ball from you. So there was a lot of counterplay. It was great. It was at they had a pair of them hooked up together for multiplayer at a gym at an apartment complex that my dad used to live at, and we would compete on that all the time. That was great. Which is why this kind of interested me. I mean, I was, however, kind of leery of it because of its predecessor, the Wii Fit. And the Wii Fit, while popular, it did sell pretty well. It also developed a pretty bad reputation because it gave most of its fitness advice based on BMI. Oh, you give your fitness advice based on BMI? Do you also recommend leech treatments? Yeah, ask anybody that BMI, which is a ratio of height to weight, is a terrible metric to base any kind of fitness advice on. It does not factor in the shape of your frame. It doesn't factor in how much muscle mass you have. It's just not good at all. Like, ask any Olympic level weightlifter what their BMI is, and they'll probably laugh you out of the room or throw you out of the room since they're strong enough to do that as well. I mean, my sister runs marathons, and yet if you went solely on her BMI, they would say that she's like 30 pounds overweight, and that just doesn't work. And the reason that it creates a problem with Wii Fit is because it's kind of a glorified scale. That's really all it has to work with, but it developed a bit of a fearsome reputation because it kind of it applied a lot of shame. It used a lot of negative reinforcement. Like, you turn it on, it measures your weight, it calls you fat and lazy and out of shape, and like I said, that really tarnished its reputation. Like, if I hired a personal trainer and the first thing that personal trainer did was call me fat, I would fire that personal trainer. Because if I want to, if I want to be berated at for my entire, exercise and training regimen, I'd join the army. Because at least in that case, I'd be the one paid to be there. Fortunately, it seems that Nintendo had that in mind when they developed the Ring Fit adventure game, because while the game does ask you for your age and your weight, you know what it says after you type those things in? Absolutely nothing. It doesn't judge you or anything. This thing was clearly designed to make up for the problems that Wii Fit had. It's very positive. It talks about how happy it is that you're here and exercising. It's encouraging. It also tries to enforce, healthier habits. It says, it's okay to take a break. It'll also occasionally chime in and say maybe you should get a drink of water, which, it's really great stuff. Although I admit, because of the Wii Fit's reputation, I was leery of this game at first. But the thing that actually got me to buy this game was actually somebody from HoloLive. Now, what is HoloLive? Maybe I'll talk about them later at some point. They were featured in a card game after all, and that's what this channel seems to do mostly these days. But take, 2 parts Twitch streamer, 1 part pop idol, and, throw them in a blender, and you've basically got HoloLive. But the personality that got me to finally buy this game was a HoloLive member named Noelle Shirogane. In fact, she's on this. She's the one on the far left here, the one with the silver hair. Because the thing about her is she is a jock. She is on her streams constantly talking about fitness. She tells stories about how she ran track in school. Her idle animation for when she's offline during her streams is literally her in gym clothes shoveling down massive piles of beef. She is a jock, and she was getting a pretty good workout from this. She was playing this game, she was huffing and puffing, and I'm like, you know what? If this game is good enough for a jock, then I figure it's good enough for me, and that's what finally got me to take the plunge at the end of last year and make this my New Year's resolution, and I am happy that I did, because this game is a lot of fun. Like I said, it has that engagement mechanic, and that ties in really well with motivation, because the game really encourages you to make sure that you get your posture correct and do the proper form on these exercises, because if you nail it perfectly, if you get your form correct, you pull your knee up all the way, you squat down all the way, you do the windmill, bring your arm all the way around for like the warrior pose or something like that, you deal more damage. So you have to flex like your life depends on it, because it does. The story of the game is that this guy here, this big muscular dragon man named Drago, yes, kind of. I detect the irony there. Has escaped from his seal, which is this talking exercise ring named Ring, and what you have to do is you have to follow him and stop him by being more fit than him. And I'm sure a lot of you people are thinking, it's like, oh, get fit? You're not gonna get swole, brah, without pumping actual iron, brah. I know that, brah. But I didn't really buy this game because I thought it would make me like super muscular and stuff. This game doesn't have a lot of strength training to it. A lot of it is, posture and, muscle group activating and cardio and stuff like that. But that's what I bought the game for, because, I'm built like an ogre, and if there's one aspect of physicality I've never had problems with, it's physical strength. So I didn't buy this thing for physical strength. I wasn't really under the delusion. I think I came at it with the proper headspace for trying this thing out. I was like, you know what? I'll try out this game. I need something to help out with my stamina, because, like a lot of people, my physical condition definitely deteriorated as a result of last year. My job before everything went down, my day job that's not YouTube related, involved, a lot of heavy physical work, but it also involved, traveling across state lines, going all over the place and rearranging, like grocery stores, hardware stores, Tractor Supply Co's, all of that, in places where there's a lot of people and I have to dig around in all the dust and stuff, and that was really not gonna fly in the environment that we found ourselves in. So I haven't really been able to, get physically active a lot lately, but this definitely helps out. Like a session that lasts about an hour, although it counts active time, so it'll say that you've been active for only about like 20 minutes of that hour. I don't think it includes the warm-up. It doesn't include the warm-up either, but it's definitely a lot of fun. So how this thing works is it actually comes with this Pilates ring that you plug the right controller into, and a little leg strap that you attach the left controller to and strap around your left thigh, and that is how it detects the movements that you're doing. And because it's not using a fancy scale to do it. You can do a lot more energetic exercises, ones that involve some really wild and erratic movements. I know that was another big complaint that a lot of people had about Wii Fit, was that you couldn't really like do a lot of like really energetic exercises. A lot of it was pretty low-key, low-intensity stuff, but they've definitely fixed that with this, because this thing is mainly used to detect where your hands are, and these controllers, they're actually sensitive enough to detect like small movements, like to correct your aim on like Breath of the Wild and stuff like that. So a big movement in your arm, it has a pretty easy time tracking. So I did film myself doing a few sessions for this game to show to family, because they were curious about this thing that I picked up to do for my New Year's resolutions. I showed them the box during our Zoom call for New Year's Eve, and they were curious about it, but I'm not going to show you too much of that footage because, well...
Woohoo! Look at that lover fly!
So, like I was saying before, the game is pretty good. It was in short supply for a while because, hey, something that lets you exercise inside your own home during a worldwide pandemic was really popular. They seem to be pretty well supplied now. My Target, like I bought mine like well after Christmas. They had at least like 15 copies lying around. It's $80. Which is a bit more than usual for a video game, but even if you add in the price of the Switch, and you have to get the Switch with the detachable controllers, $380 is way less than a fancy exercise machine. It's definitely less than a personal trainer, and this game has, like I said, it has that personal trainer element combined with that, you know, intrinsic motivation in the form of getting the story forward and, you know, like I said, making sure that you do the perfect squat to do the most damage. It works pretty well, and because it's detecting your motion, I mean, a lot of it is clearly on the honor system. There's a few exercises that it clearly has trouble tracking. I know during one session of the game, I was doing a challenge where you do the reps, and there's a little robot who grades you depending on how well you do, and on the overhead squats, I was getting really low scores, and at the time, I really didn't know why, and the game wasn't telling me, but I had gone over the footage, and they have this little guy called Tip who does the exercise in the proper posture. Here's how Tip was doing the overhead squat, and here's me. Yup, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got into this situation. But anyway, the game is loads of fun. It's gotten a little bit repetitive, but they are frequently introducing new concepts, new mechanics, new enemies to keep these interesting, and it's a lot of fun to play as. And the fact that you're being like super active with it really helps a lot. Like, you're running around the stages and you like push in on the ring to shoot like projectiles and things to break boxes and stuff, and then you can pull on the ring to suck in the coins and the treasure like you're friggin' Wario. It's a lot of fun. The game is constantly keeping you active. Like, you run in place a lot to go through the stages, but in battle, when the enemies take their turn, you actually press the ring against your stomach to perform the defensive move to lower the damage you might take. So the game is making sure that you're active. In some boss fights, they do make you do different moves for defense. I kind of wish we got some more of that. Like, if we had more stages where you did like a back press to defend yourself, I think that would be fun too. They actually have the exercises broken up into 4 different categories. You have arm exercises, leg exercises, abdominal exercises, and what they call balance, but which seem to have a greater emphasis on posture or work multiple muscle groups. The balance ones are more based on yoga. It's kind of a combination of Pilates and yoga. Like, some of you might have heard of this ring called the Pilates Magic Ring, although this one's a bit different. It has like soft fabric grips because it's going to spend most of the time in your hands, rather than the Magic Ring, which has like these caves designed to allow it to be held more easily in the legs. And let's talk about the ring a bit. It's a pretty durable ring. Like, I saw a review where they tried to get a bodybuilder to break it, and he just couldn't, because like I said, this thing will touch itself. It will make contact with the other grip before it would break. So it feels nice and sturdy. It also, these grips here are actually attached with, how about a little ASMR? With Velcro. They're attached with Velcro, so you can remove and replace them if you want to. Or at the very least, unfurl them so that they can dry out. That's a nice feature that I don't think a lot of people are aware of. I have seen some replacement grips for sale, but you know, they're not really like widespread. I haven't checked Nintendo to see if they will sell official ones. Although, speaking of replacements, the leg strap A lot of people have had a problem with the leg strap slipping down their leg. I have it really high at my thigh underneath my pants. Yeah, it gets into pretty scary territory. You get it past like where your thigh bulges outwards and to where it starts to bulge inwards again. If you can get it on there, it will stay put. Although, this means that if you want to share this game with multiple people, like with spouse or with a roommate, I highly suggest that each person get their own leg strap because, like I said, this thing explores some pretty terrifying territory. But yeah, I'm the guy who always dismantles these things. I did mostly toy reviews before I started doing card games a lot more on this channel, so I've always dissected these kinds of things. The game also introduces skill points, which are how you unlock like more slots. Like you start the game, you can have 6 exercises on you, but eventually you will unlock the ability to have like 7, 8. I currently have 9 available. So once you get to 8, that means you can get 2 of each of the muscle groups, and the different enemies actually come in different colors, and if you hit them with exercises of the matching color, they take more damage, and that's a way that the game makes sure that you're cycling through, you keep a good spread of different exercises. The game, it will regularly cut in to tell you maybe what you're doing wrong with your posture, if it's able to detect something. It encourages you to breathe, it encourages you to get water, it will even tell you to take a break. A lot of this game is about developing positive fitness habits. It's about having a regular schedule, but not being a slave to it. I've read a review where they talk about how Drago's story goes a long way. There's apparently at least 21 worlds. I'm on world 9 after about 2 weeks, and I'm feeling pretty good. I try to get in at least 20 minutes, active 20 minutes a day according to the game. Like I said, I'm having a blast. I'm feeling a lot better. Like, the first few days were pretty hard, but a lot of that, I think, was me clearly shaking off the rust. It's certainly better than what I might otherwise do, which would be like maybe take a walk or something. But a walk is honestly like idling your engine unless you really pump up the intensity on it. Not to mention the weather is miserable. There could be like bugs or like a drunk driver or something that can just ruin that. And if I hurt myself or get exhausted and I'm like a far ways from home, that would just suck. So that's why being able to do it all inside is pretty nice. My dad actually bought a copy of the game, and there's actually a system where you can interact with friends. It's nothing like fancy like co-op play or something, but what you can do is, when you don't have the game on, you can hit the control stick. You heard that little beep and that little buzz there. What happens is it'll actually detect when you do reps on the thing, and it'll make like little beeps, little noises to tell you that it's picking up the exercises being done, although it's a little hard to hear with all that Velcro padding going on. But what you do is you can store up to 500 of these reps, and you can either give them to yourself to get some bonus money and some bonus items, or you can send them to a friend. And I have figured out a way to tease this. You pull out, and then you push back in the same motion. Each of those counts as 2 reps. Like it counts the pulling as a rep and the pushing as a rep when you're really doing just one motion each. So you can get to 500 pretty easy. I call it the Banjo-Kazooie technique because the beeps it makes sounds like the Banjo-Kazooie theme song. But yeah, it's fun. I do hope to see them do more with this. It's sold about 6 million copies, as I've known so far. That's pretty good. It's not quite the Wii Fit's 20 million copies, but I think there's a lot of potential to maybe use this for other games. If nothing else, at least for like a typing of the dead scenario that recycles a bunch of elements. No straight rings. I'm just gonna leave that one sitting there for a bit. But no, the way the ring is designed, the way you can squeeze it to shoot at like there are several levels in the game where you shoot at things like a shooting gallery. There's a bunch of mini games in here which feel a bit like they could be considered a tech demo, like something cool that you could do with this ring. I hope to see more in the future. I'm gonna have to see how the game keeps going. I only just recently unlocked the double jump ability. That's gonna be fun to play with. But yeah, I think it's good if you need something to get you active. This isn't really a strength training thing. It's more about activating muscle groups. It's more about just, making sure that you stay active, getting your heart rate up, stuff like that. It's certainly way better than Wii Fit, and it seems to have garnered a better reputation, one that I feel it deserves. So, yeah, that is the Ring Fit Adventure for Nintendo Switch, and until next time, this is Kohdok signing off.